FCT, it is still working. He has brought it here in Kaduna and it will work, inshallah. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's invite His Excellency, our dear, workable Malan Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai, the Malan of Building Development and Infrastructure. Your Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, my brother and partner, Architect Barnabas Yusuf Bala, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor-elect of Kaduna State, Dr. Hadiza Sabwa Balarabe, Your Excellencies, my bosses, my wives, Hadiza Ismail Rufai and Aisha El-Rufai, Your Royal Majesty, Oba Ogunsi, Oni of Ife, Your Highness, the Emir of Lere, and our elder brother, the Speaker of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, members of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, our elected members of the National Assembly here present, our most important guest, the richest man in Nigeria, the richest man in Africa, the richest man of the black race, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to cut short the protocol. Let me first begin with an apology because we started late. We were held up at the Abuja airport in Aliko Dangote's plane. And we arrived late. My apologies. I should have come by road. I would have been here on time. But in spite of that, I hope that you enjoyed your time before we came. I would like to welcome Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, senior government officials, former and serving permanent secretaries, I can see at least one of each, ladies and gentlemen, to the 4th edition of our investment summit. I will quickly go through the slide presentation that is it up? There. And in this presentation, I'll try very quickly to introduce what we have done, give a summary of our journey so far, because this is our 4th edition, beginning with the 1st edition in 2016, the 2nd in 2017, the 3rd in 2018, and the 4th that we are currently holding. I will end with why you should invest in Kaduna State, and then thank those that have been with us on this journey in the last 4 years. By way of background, Kaduna, as you know, is this year going to be 102 years old. Kaduna City, created by Lord Lugard to be the seat of government of the Northern Protectorate. Kaduna went on to be the capital of the northern region, and we gave birth to all the 19 northern states and the FCT. And it is one of the major industrial states in the north and in Nigeria. And this whole journey of industrialization was the vision of Sir Ahmadu Bello the Sardauna of Sokoto, who established the first textile industry in Nigeria here in Kaduna, Kaduna Textiles Limited. And it cost about $2.5 million then. This led to a major textile boom here in Kaduna, and for many years Kaduna was referred to as the Manchester of Nigeria, because we had the largest concentration of textiles in the country, which at some point contributed up to 30% of national GDP. Our textile industry not only created a whole neighborhood here in Kaduna, but created 500,000 direct and indirect jobs in the cotton value chain. However, with the introduction of the Structure Adjustment Program in 1985, things turned for the worse. Today, out of 12 textile factories in Kaduna, only 2 are functioning. One, Chelco, produces blankets, and UNTL, which does parts of its spinning here, with finishing in Lagos. So what is the key lesson? The key lesson for us is summarized in the box, that building a sustainable industrial sector in Kaduna requires implementation of the right policies, creation of local content, promotion and patronage of indigenous industries, provision of infrastructure, and creation of a stable investment climate, economic and fiscal terrain. We therefore decided to have an annual Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit to achieve the revival of Kaduna's economy. So what have we been doing in terms of policy and investment drive? Our agenda is anchored at providing a conducive environment for private sector to drive Kaduna's economy and create jobs. Kaduna is the 3rd largest state in Nigeria in terms of population. We estimate about 10 million people. Over 80% of them are below the age of 35. So the biggest challenge we face as a government and as a state is job creation. We therefore have to come up with numerous policy actions and reforms that will make Kaduna the first choice of investment in Nigeria. We know we are competing with 35 other states and the FCT. We also know we are competing for investable funds around the world. So we have to be better than the best to be able to attract more investments. And we believe that while the government can incentivize and provide the enabling environment, it is only the private sector that can provide the jobs that our young people in Kaduna State need. So we started the Kaduna Investment Summit in 2016. And in each of our investment summits, we try to unveil a major plan to drive the progress of the state. In the first investment summit, we unveiled our State Development Plan 2015 to 2020. In the second investment summit, we broke down the plan into implementation plans based on sectors. In the third summit, we developed and presented the Kaduna Infrastructure Master Plan from 2015 to 2050. We have a 35-year infrastructure plan for the entire state, which we presented at the last summit. In this summit, we hope to unveil and introduce the Kaduna Industrialization Master Plan by the grace of God, which will drive our industrialization agenda. So what is the KadInvest story? KadInvest has become a critical vehicle for driving investments in Kaduna and providing the conducive environment for private sector to thrive. Through this platform, this is not just a talk shop. In the last 3.5 years, we have attracted over $500 million in local and foreign investment in this state. These investments have created directly and indirectly more than 100,000 jobs. It's still a drop in the ocean, but we have made some progress. We did this through the creation of Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, a one-stop shop that handles all investment decisions. So if you're looking to invest in Kaduna State, you just need to go to the office of the Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, and you don't need to meet with any other government agency, because KADIPA's mandate is to ensure that they get whatever approvals and support you need from every government agency. And KADIPA reports directly to the Deputy Governor of the state, who is one breath away from the office of the Governor. What have we achieved so far? After KadInvest 1.0, the first edition, we attracted 25 new businesses to Kaduna. investments of nearly $500 million, and KADIPA has continuously improved its operations as far as regulatory investments are concerned. The second edition of KadInvest saw us launching our state development plan and sector implementation plans. We also set an agenda for expansionary budget because Nigeria was in recession then, and we felt that the only way Kaduna would not go into recession was spend our way out of recession. We launched a BRT system in his locality, in his or her locality. Last year, at the third edition of KadInvest, we launched the Kaduna Infrastructure Master Plan. And we got 14 plus new investments solidified through foreign and domestic investments. One of the most important was the partnership between Dangote, Peugeot Automobile of France, and Kaduna State and other state governments to establish a brand new Peugeot factory in Kaduna State. This Peugeot factory will not only manufacture Peugeot cars, but will also manufacture trucks, SUVs, and other vehicles to meet every segment of the Nigerian market using partnerships with other equipment manufacturers. We've so far achieved 79% foreign direct investment and 21% domestic investment. So we're attracting more foreign investment than domestic. And we should do better than that because what we'd like is to see a mix of 50-50. We've also focused on building human capital because when companies invest, they also look for skilled people to work for them. The next slide shows some of the projects that we have been able to attract, from Olam, which is the largest poultry and feed mill in sub-Saharan Africa, a $150 million investment, to housing schemes, Tomato Jaws. It's called Tomato Jaws, but it's actually Tomato Kaduna, because they are here in Kaduna. CatStep, Blue Camel Energy, which produces solar energy, street lights, and so on. The CADAT program, as well as an assembly plant for tractors by Mahindra of India. Continuing, we also have the feed mill Sunset in Zaria, neighborhood centers all over the state. Ethiopian Airlines started operating flights into Kaduna, but unfortunately had to discontinue due to low patronage. And we also have the largest business processing operation, the largest call center in Nigeria, is in Kaduna State, in our CAD ICT hub. We are, as I mentioned earlier, also talking to Dangote Peugeot to establish a brand new plant. I'm happy to announce that just yesterday, Dangote paid part of their equity. We already paid ours, and this project is about to take off. We are negotiating with Blisco, the Dutch company, with some Chinese partners to establish a 400-hectare textile park here in Kaduna. We broke ground for the Kaduna 200-bed Kaduna Hilton last year, and construction is going on. They have put in the financing package together, as well as PPP at Gamji Park. So what do we hope to achieve with the fourth edition of KadInvest? We seek to expand new investment frontiers by capitalizing on our existing competitive, and attractive fiscal incentives in the state. Our main objective is to present and operationalize our industrialization plan and improve the investment portfolios by a factor of 3. We also want to align the Kaduna Infrastructure Master Plan and the Industrial Plan to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals as part of the global commitment to eliminating poverty. We intend today to launch into Industry 4.0, focusing on developing a knowledge economy while industrializing and revamping our industries. So today, the industrial plan will be launched, which seeks to create some 3.7 million direct and indirect jobs by the year 2050. We also want to boost our household income from 32,000 naira today to about 104,000 naira in the year 2050. We want to register 32% GDP growth after industrialization and increase the share of agricultural sector to 40% of the overall state GDP by 2019. We want to achieve a 20% contribution of agro-allied output to our GDP. Agriculture is our strongest sector right now. It employs most of our people, but we want to move along the value chain from agriculture to agro-industry and agricultural industry value addition. We also want to focus on electrical and electronics. Right now, our share of electrical and electronics sector to Kaduna State GDP is near 0. We want to move it to 2% in the short term, to 5% in the medium term in about 10 years, and to 10% in 15 years. We want to encourage ICT, hardware, assembly, and every aspect of the electrical sector. We also want to recreate Kaduna State as a motor vehicle and assembly hub around the old Pan Pujo of Nigeria and the new Dangote Pujo. We hope to attract downstream industries that will establish Kaduna as the automobile hub of Nigeria. We want to raise our motor vehicle and assembly sector in GDP to 2% in 5 years, to 5% in 10 years, and to 10% in 15 years. We also want to revive our textile industry. Lagos is now the textile hub of Nigeria. Our hope is to overtake Lagos by reviving our brown industries, the old Kaduna textiles, Arewa Tex, UNTL. We are working with the federal government to remove the bottlenecks that led to the collapse of these industries. Before the end of this year, the 215 megawatt Kudenda power plant will be brought into service. The 30 megawatt Gurara Hydro will be brought into service, and a large percentage of this power will be dedicated to our two industrial estates in Kakuri and Kudenda, so they will have uninterrupted power, which was one of the things that killed the textiles. We are also committed to providing free water to all our textile industries to lower their cost of production for the first 5 years. We are working with the Bank of Industry and the Central Bank of Nigeria to provide intervention funding, low interest, single digit interest funding to revive our textile industries. But in addition, we are working with Vlisco, as I said, to establish a brand new textile park with Chinese partners that will occupy about 400 hectares and hire thousands of people. We also want to backward integrate into cotton production, and we started talking with the Egyptian government to partner with them in the production of long fiber cotton for our textile industries. We have comparative advantage in mining and quarrying, and we want to formalize artisanal mining in Kaduna. We've built a gold processing center and will soon start prospecting for gold in the Birnin Gwari area by the grace of God. Nigeria, or I would say Kaduna State, has the purest form of nickel ever found in the world in Dangoma in Jama'a local government. We are pushing our Australian partners and investors to start developing that industry, which will also create thousands of jobs in the area. We want to increase penetration of renewable energy in Kaduna to 20%, mostly using solar, and increase capacity of the electricity grid by at least 400 megawatts in Kaduna State. I've already explained to you where some of that will come from: 215 megawatts from Gurara, 215 from Kudenda, 30 megawatts from Gurara, and about 200 megawatts coming from various solar investments. We are expanding our road network all across the state. We are maintaining existing roads, and we are ramping up the provision of inter- and intra-state transportation in the state. But we'll also explore opportunities to enhance rail transport between major industrial areas. Finally, we are looking at ICT. We want to make Kaduna to be the ICT center of northern Nigeria, if not Nigeria. We already have the first ICT hub in Nigeria, and we are in partnership with Microsoft and Google to invest more in developing and providing training instead of the ICT technology like blockchain technology. We also want to incorporate ICT in everything we do, from agriculture to manufacturing and education. So this is what we hope to do in KadInvest 4.0. So let me quickly end by asking the question, why should you invest in Kaduna State? I've tried to give reasons why, but I'll summarize them in the next slide. There are essentially 4 reasons. The first is that we have an experienced and educated workforce. Kaduna State has the highest number of tertiary institutions in northern Nigeria. So if you're looking for a skilled workforce, Kaduna is the first place to go. In terms of educational achievement, Kaduna is ranked 12th in terms of WAEC performance in Nigeria and number 1 in the north. We are not happy with being 12th. We want to move to be in the first 5 within the next 5 years by the grace of God. We are also improving our infrastructure, physical and human infrastructure. So that's one reason. The other reason is that we have abundant natural resources. We have everything, every kind of mineral in Kaduna State. About 34 different minerals in Kaduna State, and a very huge consumer market, about 10 million people, and growing by the day. Over 80% of this population is below the age of 35. We therefore offer a huge pool of labor force. But more than that, Kaduna is investor friendly. When we came into office in 2015, Kaduna was ranked number 17 in the ease of doing business in Nigeria out of 36 states and the FCT. Within 3 years, Kaduna has moved to being the easiest state in Nigeria to do business. This we have done through deliberate policy redesign, and with the support of our State House of Assembly, we've enacted laws that make it very easy to do business in Kaduna State. And under the leadership of our Deputy Governor, we have eased everything from getting a certificate of occupancy, getting consents to assign within 30 days, getting your building plans approved within 21 days, and generally making our civil service very efficient. Finally, Kaduna is a transportation hub. We are the gateway to northern Nigeria. Once upon a time, we are called Kaduna Junction because this is where the Eastern Rail Line and the Western Rail Line cross here in Kaduna. And as the new dual-gauge rail system is being built, both the Western and the Eastern lines are going to again connect to each other in Kaduna. So Kaduna will remain, for the foreseeable future, the gateway to northern Nigeria. If you want to be in northern Nigeria, you have to be in Kaduna. The next slide shows how we moved from number 17 in the ease of doing business to number 1. But we are not where we should be, because the next slide shows where we are in respect of the 4 measures of the ease of doing business. We are number 1 in terms of enforcing contracts. For this, I must pay tribute to the Kaduna State Judiciary. Kaduna State Judiciary is the fastest, most efficient judiciary in resolving disputes, commercial disputes. And Our civil procedures are perhaps the most advanced in Nigeria. That's why we got ranking as first in enforcing contracts. We are also first in registering property, because the Kaduna Geographic Information Service is extremely efficient in dealing with land matters. But we are fifth in starting a new business. We need to improve such that when we come back in another 4 years, we'll be first in starting a business. We are not doing very well in dealing with construction permits. We are 17th in Nigeria. My hope is that by the time we come back in 4 years, we will be first in dealing with construction permits by the grace of God. So what are the key sectors and investment opportunities? Agriculture is one sector. We are perhaps the leading agricultural state in Nigeria. We are number 1 in the production of maize, soybeans, ginger, and tomatoes. We are number 2 in sorghum, beans, and other commodities. So Kaduna is truly the number 1 agricultural state in Nigeria, and there are opportunities, and we have lots of land, 46,000 square kilometers. I joke with my Southeast governor friends and say that the 5 states of the Southeast can fit in Kaduna state 2.5 times. So land is not our problem. Tourism is one area for which we have potentials, but we need to work on the security challenges that face us in parts of the state. We have minerals, transport and logistics, construction, health, services and ICT, and education. I want to end my presentation by thanking our partners. I want to specially appreciate the bilateral and multilateral partners that have supported Kaduna State in the last 4 years through very difficult times. I want to thank the World Bank for finding Kaduna fit to grant $350 million low-interest loan to support our development efforts. Though we are yet to draw on that due to the sabotage of the 2 senators, but happily, we've sent them into permanent retirement. And I want to thank the people of Kaduna State that with their votes send them a clear statement that you cannot sabotage Kaduna State and have a life, a political life. I want to thank the Department for International Development of the UK and Her Majesty's government for the strong support Devt has given to us in every sector, from education to health to commerce to laying solid foundations for governance. Devt has been a wonderful partner. The USAID has been great and is currently working with us to develop our economic sector. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Dangote Foundation have supported us aggressively in the last few years, not only to get rid of polio, but to expand our primary health care system. We have saved lives of women that used to die during childbirth because of the support of Alhaji Dangote and Bill and Melinda Gates. We are very grateful. The African Development Bank and the Islamic Development Bank have supported us in various sectors, from water supply and sanitation to education. The Zaria Water Project, which has gone on almost forever, has finally been completed with the support of AFDB and ISDB. We are very grateful, and I'm happy to announce that Mr. President has agreed to commission the Zaria Water Project sometime soon. For 30 years, people in Zaria have never seen water out of their taps. Because of the support of Africa Development Bank and Islamic Development Bank and our project implementation team, we've been able to deliver water to Zaria for the first time in 30 years. We are grateful to these agencies. Finally, the Indian government that has been very supportive, from their investment, $30 million in our electrification program in the state, to lending us $650 million via the Indian Exim Bank to build the first intra-city light rail in northern Nigeria outside of Abuja. We are grateful to the Indian government. We are proceeding with that project very soon by the grace of God. Of course, our special appreciation goes to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is a Kaduna State citizen because he has lived most of his life here and supported us always and very strongly. The Federal Ministry of Finance, headed by one of Kaduna State's daughters, Hajia Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, and the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council that has also been very supportive, and the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. And all of you, particularly the people of Kaduna State who came out on the 9th of March and gave me over 1 million votes for a second term in office. Thank you very much for listening. Please join us, and remember, Kaduna is open for business and will remain open for business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, you may be seated.